Hello, my name is Peyton Jenkins, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about building stronger relationships. So, all of us have been designed by God with an innate and hardwired need for human connection. Unfortunately, we're also, as humans, notoriously messy, and relationships are often fraught with difficulty. Whether you're talking about a member of your family or your next door neighbor or someone that you've known for years and years, it doesn't really make a difference. Sometimes the human interaction just gets a little messed up. And sometimes we find out that our relationships were a little rockier than we thought they should be, that we maybe had some unrealistic expectations for ourselves or for the other person. And we might wonder, okay, how can I build a stronger, healthier, more mature relationship? So that's what we're going to talk about. I have tonight 5 attributes illustrated by the book of Proverbs that can help us build stronger relationships. So let's just dive in. We'll start with Proverbs 27 and verse 9, which reads, "Ointment and perfume delight the heart, and the sweetness of a man's friend gives delight by hearty counsel." And I believe that, among other things, this verse illustrates the need for investment in one another's lives. Here's the thing. We don't need to be trying to solve each other's problems. Sometimes that leads to other issues of its own. But we do need to be present and invested in what's happening in our friends' lives. We can build trust and develop insight that may be just what they need just by caring about what's happening in their lives, listening to the things that they're saying, sitting beside them in times of need, walking with them through difficulties, being invested, being there, being by their side when they need us in the good times and the bad. This verse, again, Proverbs 27:9, compares the sweetness of a man's friend to the sweetness of a perfume or an ointment. It basically says that when I sit with a friend and am invested in his life or her life, when I'm sharing the hardships and the joys, then that is creating the sweet savor just like a perfume. So don't be a stinky friend in your friend's life. Be invested, be there for them, and be that sweet smell. Next, we can look at Proverbs chapter 17 and verse 17, which says, "A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for adversity." If you can think about a time that someone came through for you in a time of need, remember how it felt to know that you're not alone. And now make it a point to give that feeling to others as much as you can. Yes, we're talking about support. A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. Similar to what we just talked about a moment ago, once you're invested in someone's life, then you'll be there to support them through the difficulties. We've all had the friends that have kind of come and gone, the across the back fence friends, the say hello at work friends. Those are well and good. Those are necessary to our lives. But to have those true, strong, deep relationships, we need to be there to support one another through those adverse times as well. Moving forward, we'll look at Proverbs chapter 27 and verse 6, which says, "Faithful are the words of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful." And I think this verse illustrates honesty. It's easy to fall into the trap of just offering simple flattery or fake positivity, but a true friend is someone who is going to be able to tell you what you need to know, even if it's hard. Conversely, being a true friend to someone means being able to look them in the eye and say the difficult thing. Once again, I'm sure you can think in times of your life of friends who have spoken to you words that you might not have wanted to hear, but that were what you needed in that moment, or were very important to correcting you or helping you to solve an issue. So always be loving and tactful, but don't avoid hard conversations out of fear. It's important to be honest, and I truly believe that a good, strong relationship can withstand being told difficult things. So remember that faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. Make sure you want to be the friend who wounds instead of the enemy who flatters. Let's look now at Proverbs chapter 17 and verse 9, which says, "He who covers a transgression seeks love, but he who repeats a matter separates friends." And I believe that, again, among other things, this verse can tell us a lot about forgiveness. None of us are going to get it right 100% of the time, and we are going to do things that hurt one another or that undermine one another. Most of the time accidentally. But we all will need the forgiveness of a friend at some point. Commit to being a person who forgives easily and quickly. Seek the good of your relationship and the reconciliation of your friend over your own ego or over your own hurt feelings. Remember that when you will someday need to be forgiven, and so it is imperative that you're willing to forgive others. So many friendships, so many relationships are broken by hard words, by the inability to let go. But if you are willing to forgive, if you are willing to cover a transgression with love, as it says in Proverbs 17:9, then you will find yourself in a much stronger position with your friend. And then finally, we'll look at Proverbs chapter 25 and verse 17, which says, "Seldom set foot in your neighbor's house, lest he become weary of you and hate you." And I can't help but sort of chuckle when I read that passage. It's very blunt, and I think that also we could probably safely guess that there's meant to be an element of humor here as well. But the point here is set boundaries. It doesn't matter how close you are to someone. It doesn't matter how much you love each other. Boundaries are necessary to a happy life and a happy relationship together. Not only is it okay for you to say no, and okay for you to establish boundaries, it's actually necessary if you're going to have a healthy and a mutually enjoyable friendship. So guard your relationship against resentment and against frustration and against hurt feelings by setting clear limits on your time, your availability, or even for topics for discussion. And then make sure you stick to those boundaries, because there's nothing worse than never really knowing how far you can go with someone or what's too much and what's not enough. Be sure to respect the other person's boundaries as well. And you will find that even though you love each other and you're there for each other all the time, you will both appreciate the times when you can go into your own corners and just be alone for a moment. So these 5 aspects, once again, that's investment, support, honesty, forgiveness, and boundaries. They can all be summed up in one single word, which is trust. The whole point here is that you are building trust with someone that you love. So when both parties are committed to trust and to love, you can experience the full meaning of Proverbs 27:17, as iron sharpens iron, so a man sharpens the countenance of his friend.